And Terry, if you guys want to talk a little bit about what you have at your title company, and also thank you so much for bringing breakfast.
Karen, so I'm Terry, I'm a residential sales executive for Sudley. Anything along that corridor, I know some of you are from around the area. I office out of all of those. I also have these home seller and home buyer guides, and I have them in English and in Spanish. And they're really great. I have them as links, so I can email you the link. And you can send them out to your people and you can tell them, make sure to look at page, why you need a realtor. That's an important thing. And yeah, so just text me. I give you my number now and you can just text me and I'll be happy to send those over to you and give me your email address as well. It's 817 914 4987.
One more time.
817 4987. And we have a bring Chick-fil-A for help.
Yep. Part of my, on marketing.
Working at the office right next to also Dallas work. I do mainly commercial. I am doing some residential, in this area, not across the office. But I've been here for 25 years, been in the building next door for since 2011 and had to move away for a couple of years, but we're back. I'm glad you're Fidelity. We're a national company. We're not a big office. We close transactions all over the country, residential and commercial. We do multifamily and developments, anything. And we do have a lot of apps that Terry and I would be the ones be happy to show you, and some farming packages and Fidelity One app for your net sheets and some social media marketing.
Well, and I just want to do a plug. I know Diana told you she's in our parking lot and Terry told you where she is, but they actually have a lot of good marketing material that you can set out at open houses, some buyer books, some seller books. The app that she's talking about is the good one. There's a good one and a not as good one. They have the good one. They actually originated it. And then all the other title companies sort of templated it over the years. So theirs is always the first to get the fancy marketing flyers and things like that. I was in there yesterday and right now they've got a bunch of flyers talking about the current interest rate hikes that you can use for your social media that are customizable to yourself with your title person branded on it. So it's just extra good content. And Terry's right. She's been best friends with Kelly for however many years. Diana, same way. She's been good friends with myself, Victor, Piazza for many, many years. So they're friends beyond the business as well. So my
I
testimony.
did this outfit when I was a realtor.
You did that.
Yes.
I'm gonna put into the social media because that's all I do.
Right. Did you say for anti-social? Okay, so one of our panelists got stuck behind a train, so she'll be here in a minute, but I feel like we can go ahead and get started and start doing intros and everything. So thanks everybody for coming. And if you want to hit record, if we're not yet recording, we are. Okay, great. So today's topic is outside the box networking. And the reason that these specific panelists were chosen is because, there are a certain number of lead generation techniques that are considered traditional: door knocking, cold calling, pulling expired lists, open houses, things like that. While they all have done those things and they've practiced those different approaches throughout the years, they also do things that are in line with either their personal life or their passions or their hobbies, and they found a way to leverage their own interests so that you're working to live and not living to work, if you will. And they've been able to incorporate these things into their lives. So I just wanted to start out by letting them introduce themselves. So if you can go in any order, just say your name, what office you're with, and maybe how long you've been in the industry. We don't have to get too deep right now, but just kind of tell where you're at.
I'll kick it off. Russ Pickens out of Remax Trinity. So I think I just hit my 4-year mark, which pretty excited about. Not excited about how many more hours I need to get a broker's license. That's absolutely terrible. I think it's like 600, but it's not bad. So our biggest area is out of Burleson, and referrals are obviously the biggest thing we're going to get. Spent 17 years in banking, auto finance. So they brought 65 executives and Chase and said, hey, here's your package. Already have my real estate license. I'll go hang out with Kathy and my wife Heather and see what real estate was all about. And I've fallen in love with it. with it with the free time.
And they were kind enough to let him on their already powerhouse team, so go girls. Yeah. I'm sure that Kathy regrets it, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, anyways. Kelly.
Pardon me, Kelly Wheeler. I've been with Remax for 19 years. Got when Trinity was masters and before that. And so I've always been here in the South Lake area. Prior to that, I was a realtor in Florida and North Carolina. Florida more active at 3 years. North Carolina, I really didn't do much. So basically, I've had my real estate license in some manner since I was 21, and I'm old. I love it.
She's now 25.
I love what I do. And I think what you said is important about living instead of living to work. Or working to live. I live my life, my work becomes part of my life in my joy. I wouldn't do it if I didn't have the most exciting time ever doing what I do, helping people and enjoying my time in this life.
Thank you. And Kelly actually was one of the first agents that helped me get started. When I first started in 09 as a young buck, she came to me and said, hey girl, you want to grow your business? You can put your name on my signs. And so I put writers on her signs. So I'm forever appreciative of her for that. But she also, again, it goes right in line with this. She was living her life and she had the business that she wanted. So she was helping support other people grow. Gil?
My name is Gilbert Santana with Remax Cross Country. I've been in the industry for 18 years. I've been with Remax for 10. I started out as an insurance agent before I became a real estate agent. And prior to that, with another life, with another wife, I was an engineer at Ford Aerospace.
Another wife with another wife. You gotta talk louder too.
Oh, sorry. I know I can talk louder. I know that. I do. My thing is just, I enjoy what I do. I do this 7 days a week. Anybody wants me or needs me, I don't care what agent or what person, I'll go open a house, I'll go pick up a sign, I'll go do whatever anybody needs for me to do. And I just enjoy what I do. And I just love what I do with people. That's pretty much it.
And my personal comment about Gil is that everybody thinks I'm a balloon junkie. And I mean, as you can tell, I've got my brand on. I have to say Gil probably has more balloon attire than me. I'm not sure. We'd have to lay out our closet side by side, but between the two of us, we probably could be a walking billboard. So I'm just really appreciative of all three of them. Our fourth panelist, Miriam, she'll be here shortly, but she's out of the Fort Worth office. She comes over to us from another brokerage. She's been with us for a couple of years now at Remax, and I'm sure she'll do her quick intro when she gets here. So thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys. And as usual, I have a list of questions, but we may or may not get to all of them, and you're welcome to pipe in and say whatever you like along the way. So let's just keep it casual. You guys all know my co-panelist, Rosabelle, has recently stepped into the business development role. So I want to take a moment to make sure that she has introduced that very well. And so we're going to haze her, so you can ask her. No, I'm just kidding. Questions, but if you have something for her, you can throw something at her, and Zoom can ask questions in the chat too. So. All right, so let's just kick it off. If any of the three of you want to tell us, we're not going to go deep into the ideas just yet, but tell us how you came about some of the outside the box networking things that you do. Did you try some of the traditional real estate methods and that didn't work, or did they sort of naturally fall into your lap? Where did you find some of your sources? Was it hobbies, etc.?
Kick it off again. We'll just go in this order.
Okay.
I like it. Take your time.
So mine, I tried the traditional things in the beginning and they were working just fine. It's message everybody I know. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. I get my real estate license. I want to be able to help you guys out with all your real estate needs. We have a team. Always push my team out there. So they're not looking, oh, I got a new guy that doesn't know what he's doing. But always pushing mother-in-law, pushing Kathy, Heather out there, and for all the help that I can get. We've gone on, sometimes Heather will go on a single appointment, and sometimes Kathy and I'll go. So I went through that whole deal and I loved it, but I'm an avid golfer. I play 3 or 4 times a week and it's all work. Every bit of it's work. promise. So, but in doing that, I'm like, man, I play men's golf association on Saturdays. I play in tournaments when I can to meet new people. So my biggest thing that I've done to help grow my business was I host a night golf tournament at Southern Oaks Golf Club about 3 or 4 times a year. It starts at dusk. We have a band that comes out. We have free food. Chick-fil-A usually caters for free. Another owner of the Chick-fil-A's. We have a couple different sponsors that come in with it as well. So, but I don't bring in additional, no offense, no title companies. I don't bring roofers in or other members of the real estate industry. I bring in a med spa that comes in and they'll do on the spot beach ball shots and things like that. And it's growing their business. They're good family cars. And then we bring a dumpster company. I want to roll off dumpster company as well. So we bring that in and we do a sponsor there, like real estate, clean the house, you know, spring cleaning, whatever that may be. But this night golf tournament, it started out, we were trying to get 80 people in the very first one. We had 96 in like 3 days.
So first you joined up just as a member, as a participant, before it became an idea to lace it into your business.
Well, we used to sneak on the golf course and play night golf by
Okay.
ourselves. We bought the going balls and did it ourselves. So finally I came in to see if I can talk to the GM of the course and bring them in. And he's like, I love the idea. He goes, but I hate it. The third time, I've done about 12 so far. The third time he's like, man, I hate this event because their guys are there till 2 o'clock in the morning cleaning up and make sure the course is good for the next morning and detailing carts. But now I can get 140 people to play in this event, and that's about the cap. And we can have it filled up in 2 days, 5 max. And we do about 30-day marketing. So the next one's going to be July 22nd or 29th. Haven't told you all that, but July 22nd or 29th. And it's another one that's just going to blow it out of the water. It's concerning to get new course carts, and the ones before have been damaged multiple times here in night golf, but they're absolutely awful. So it's okay. So we'll try one more event with that before they get the new ones and see how the new ones go. But it's been a ton of fun. I mean, that night golf event is the best time. It is just a big party and everybody comes out. They love it. The med spa business is growing hand over fist just because of that. They're a family doctor office, but the med spa, they've blown it out of the water. I mean, I've got Heather getting Botox there now. We got to work on the one we have, not trade her in for a younger one, right?
Gotcha, bro. Don't worry. Okay, so there was actually a lot to unpack there, and I want to come back to some of that, but the baseline was he used something that he was already doing that he had as a personal interest and a personal hobby, and he saw an opportunity to grow that. And in growing it, he also has helped other people grow their businesses as well. Kelly, yours was found through hobby, but you have several things, which we'll talk about. Tell us kind of how you stumbled into these things and decided there's something there.
I like to drink. No, it started out originally when I joined Remax. I worked with Beata. She was the team lead and my mentor for the first about 8 years. So a lot of my business came from, as a team, and that lead was passing me on her buyers and such. In that time frame, I, had children, so I sponsored wrestling, I sponsored baseball, I went and volunteered at the school and did things and became known through this, the neighborhood, the kids and things like that. So we'll talk about the kids because I think that's really important when you are a real estate agent, to train your children and your children's friends and your friends' parents to be aware of what you do, and in a subtle way, but consistently. So that was one avenue. The next avenue that I discovered is because I did have boys and children, I needed a night out. So I started doing ladies' night out on Wednesdays, and we went to consistently the same spot, which at that time was Brio. And so I started networking a little bit through the bar crowd, sitting around chatting with people.
Just near her home and her office.
Yes. And then that moved into Copeland's. So it went from 1 night a week to 2 nights a week. And then I also am an avid Chick-fil-A person. So I started just, and I love red. So, and red and white, my cars, my nail, my hair, everything. So I started sort of joking around with Chick-fil-A and I match, and we were made for each other. And I just proposed to that. So that was another avenue that I went with was branding myself with another brand that I thought was an excellent product. The third avenue that I went into, that was another passion, because Chick-fil-A was a massive passion, was fine dining. And I did actually lose 30 pounds on the Chick-fil-A and Bob's diet.
She loves fine dining, but she's also a good cook, just throwing that out there.
Thank you.
And
Baking, I love baking. But I started going to Bob's Steak and Shop House when they opened 15 years ago. I have my numbers if anybody wants to know exactly how much I was. But that ended up being my brand, being there, and that's where I look back, and literally this year will probably be 100% from my bar crowd, from Bob's. And then I would go to Wilhoit's. So you're going from the high-end brand to, a local pub kind of music venue.
It helps that someone wrote your phone number wrong, there's a wall.
if the Zoom didn't hear that, Jared said it helped someone wrote her phone number on the men's wall. It was I know, Kelly, it was probably her. It was probably because she will work the business.
No, it was, it's a big thing for me, as passion is music also. So I was able to combine my passion of my children, passion of dining, food, friends, and then music, to where I can trace back. And I have spent much of the time yesterday tracing back every transaction for the past 4 years and where it came from, and I have those numbers.
We're gonna dig into that because I want you guys to hear how powerful the return on investment for her stuff has been by simply leaning into her passion and her hobby. And our fourth panelist, Miriam's right. You want to hop on up? You can come on up. And then I want to, if you could just tell everybody what office you're with, how long you've been in the business, and keep it simple. And then we'll come back to you and Gil and have you, I'll ask you another question. So how long have you been in the business?
So I haven't been in the business too long. I'm actually a baby realtor, approximately 5 years. I'm with the South. Well, I started the South Oak Lake location, but I'm actually out of the Trinity.
Yep, Montgomery Plaza.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. And Miriam has also taken a community service passion project and turned it into a line of business among some other outside the box networking. So thank you. You have not missed much. That's all we did. And she got stuck behind a train and let us know. So it's all good.
I live
The current question on the table is, what process did you go through to choose an outside the box marketing idea? Was it something that sort of fell into your lap? Were you out there looking for something to get involved in? Or was it a natural part of your life that said there's something here that can help me and help the community? So Gil or Miriam, whoever wants to answer that. Gil, you go ahead. She just sat down.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me start off by, I learned something from Tracy years back. Hijack as much as you can.
Louder.
Hijack as much as you can and make it your own. So I took a lot of things that a lot of other agents did and kind of fine tuned it. I reverse engineered a lot of stuff. And one of the things that I did was I put out these coins, and they're really actually what you can use them in Vegas, but don't do that because I don't want Rocco looking for me. And I put my name on it, my phone number and everything else. And this is what I found was really cool. And then I have another one that's just pure red, and I put it in the bathrooms, or I leave it at restaurants. And I like drinking too, but my drinking is going to the Shake Bar, which is about 5 driveways from the office. So I walk in there pretty large. I pass out all my chips. Everybody knows me by the chips. I did a lot of, as you can see, I do a lot of my phone. That kind of stuff. And my guy where I spend a lot more of my money is on my embroidery, like you were saying earlier, that I spent a lot of money on my wardrobe. I have a Letterman jacket that has Remax on the back with my phone number if you're ready to buy or sell. I did the door knocking thing. That was cool, but that didn't work out very well for me. What worked out for me is just going to different places and just leaving my chip all over the place. And then having both chips would tell me if they got it from the bathroom or a restaurant. The other ones are that I gave them personally, which is the red and white ones. And that's pretty much it. I just kind of go in not really loud, but I go in that people remember my name. Santana, Gilbert was here. And that's it. So it's kind of a cool name. And I wear my badge upside down. And I start with when I spell my name, it starts with the $. But I've learned a lot of stuff from Tracy. I really did, because she was explaining about farming and then planting the seed and letting it grow, then harvest it. It was fun, and it's been working really well for me.
Well, and you might be thinking, well, he's talking about how he wears the brand and all that, which is not necessarily outside the box. We all have access to that same brand. But what he does differently is he lives, walks, and breathes it. So there are times when he'll be in a room full of complete strangers, and the next thing you know, I'll turn around and they'll be crowded around him simply because of the iconic brand that he has become. He's become part of that. He's not just using it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I went to Michigan with Eddie Foster, and I was at the hotel and I was downstairs having breakfast. I had a whole bunch of people wanting to just take pictures with me because of my jacket and the way I was dressed, and they loved it.
Same, even in Vegas, you're surrounded by 10,000 people covered in the balloon, and they're all surrounding Gil saying, I need my picture with you and stuff. So it is a little bit different than just leaning into the brand. Miriam, how did you find what you do as your passion project? Was it something that you were just naturally doing, or how did that develop?
So I naturally just love police officers. It just so happens that when my husband and I met, he was like, what do you want to be? And I'm like, well, I kind of always wanted to kind of dig into being a police. Well, we both started the process, except that I got pregnant and he got accepted. So that's how that went. After
We're
seeing
gonna try the other way, but it didn't work.
galleon effort. So it just so happened that I wanted to stay at home with my baby to kind of just ease into motherhood, and then him with his new profession. And then I saw everything that that profession did to them. It's really not a job, it's really a calling. Anyway, so from that, I just said, I will support you from home. But deep down inside, there was a deep passion for police. So way before I was a realtor, I would help in anything that I could as a police watch, just because that made me feel connected to my husband when he was not there. In a sense, I was helping him and being close to him, even though he was out fighting crimes somewhere else. And anyway, so
You're fighting your own version of toddler crimes.
Yeah, terrible.
Which is very important.
Yes,
Yes.
that was a challenge on
Probably
himself.
the tougher of the two jobs.
Yes, and now he says that, So from that, it developed into a 501c3, it's Fort Worth Police Family Association. And then because of his job, I was like, I need to find something where I can change my schedule. Anyway, through the process of just being a police wife, staying at home, and then trying to get this 501c3 off the ground, I picked up that people are visual learners. I can tell you all day long in a long post drawn out who, what, where, when, why, and how, but who really is going to have the time to sit there and look at it? So what I did is I thought to myself, well, I don't want to read a post, so why don't I just do snippets, like quick 30-second, 20-second little videos, and show you everything that I'm doing. That way people are like, oh, okay, I want to find out more about this. It doesn't have to be long. You just have to put yourself out there. So from that, it evolved into real estate. Well, everybody does something unique in their own business. Well, how can I translate that and show you, instead of me telling you, how can I show you? So it turned in from, I'm a visual person, the rest of you are visual. So yeah, it has evolved since then.
Well, you kind of lead us right into the next question. So all of you have told us how you got the idea and where it came from. And the commonality here is that it was something that they were already interested or already doing. In Gil's case, he was already getting into the business, and he kind of looked at all the ideas out there and determined what might be the best for him. But in the other cases, it was something that they had already laid those seeds in their personal life. So when you discovered that, what steps did you take to develop it into a consistent business method? Anybody?
Wow.
The golf, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So the
I like golf. I really do.
You like golf? Yeah.
Okay, you go.
I like golf a lot. So it's a passion for me. I get out there and practice. I've got great relationship with everybody in the pro shop. Every time someone calls about real estate in the pro shop, they send it over to me. They refer me over. I get a good referral source from that. I probably 2 or 3 deals a year out of just somebody calling, hey, tell me more about your golf course. And I want to buy a house out there or buy a lot. So that's been working out really well, and we'll give a referral fee over to the kids out of the pro shop, and they're looking to that. I've sold probably 3 houses to staff at the golf course, which is really nice too. But
That's
just
word of mouth.
it's solid, just referrals, reminding them what I do and all that stuff. But they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a real estate agent. They're like, dude, you're up here every day playing golf. I'm like, I'm an underperforming real estate agent. But that's kind of my little, icebreaker there.
So you have the idea, you have the night golf thing, and then you go to the golf course and say, hey, this is what I think I want to do. How did you first take those steps?
The step was just give the idea to the
Okay.
workshop, to the GM.
Did you come up with a budget, or did they?
This worked out so well.
Okay,
Okay, so the very first one I did on my own, all I did was pay $300 to the winners.
okay.
That's all I did. So 150 or 200 for first, 100 for second, and I've never spent more than that on.
So
any
you
of them
have
so
the
far.
idea, the facility puts together the event,
Correct,
you provide the prize,
correct.
and then it grew from there, because
Yes.
that's the call.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's $50 per player to come in and enjoy it. But now we've grown it into, you get 2 drink tickets, you get free food. We've grown it into so many different things and gift bags and stuff
So
like
each
that.
one kept getting bigger, and you thought, well, we need to kind of finesse this a little, or 'cause
Absolutely.
how did it go from that one little, I'm giving away a prize, to now you've got this whole several hundred people event?
It's repeat offenders.
Okay,
If you come out and play night golf, you're hooked on it and you want to come. Rafael Palmeiro comes, the majority of them, trying to get Neil McCoy out there. And Rafael Palmeiro is so cool about it.
are those golfers?
Rafael Palmeiro.
Baby.
Raphael Palmer was the Texas Rangers baseball player.
Okay.
So, yeah, so different guy, yeah, so. And he'll come out to majority of the events. Neil McCoy's a country singer. No,
Think about me.
this one hurts so bad. This one hurts so bad. But it's things like that. We get them and then they fall in love with it. So we're getting another celebrity or two every once in a while come in and hang out. We've got Josh Abbott Band, another Texas country singer. His drummer lives right behind me. He plays in it. He doesn't sponsor, but he puts it out there. Hey, night golf's coming up. We've got,
And how'd you lace in the med spa vendor?
they're our family doctor,
Okay,
one, and her husband's my best friend.
okay.
So it was easy. He's like, yeah, we'll do it. They came
Saw
out the
those
first time.
opportunities and put them together.
They've got way more business than I have out of it. It's
Well, and before we go too far, he kind of breezed over another thing that he does that I think is pretty cool. He's got a side hustle, which does junk removals. Talk a little bit about that and about how it's been able to help your business.
so. We'll throw a dumpster at your house. You ready to move? We'll go put a dumpster out there. Our cost, I'll take it, I'll write it off and pay the dumpster business. So it's a write
For
off
his
for real
team,
estate.
but also he can help any agents in the room
And-
if you need this for your clients also.
I've had multiple agents reach out over the Remax Trinity staff page. And it's been great. I mean, they get help out of it. Other real estate agents at other brokerages, I've just known personally. I always give people a hard time. It's the funnest thing for me to do in the world. So took a picture with the lady the other day. I said, hey, I got a new real estate client. Send it to another real estate agent. It's their mom. So I do stuff like that just to keep in good relationships.
With moms, doesn't he?
Oh,
He likes to steal my clients.
Yeah.
they love me. Yes or no?
So how do we reach you, give us the number for the junk removal?
817-538-3321. You call me directly and we can work it out.
And but
5383.
3321.
and going back to how that became a part of your business, at what point did you say, I'm gonna get a junk truck?
A connection with his mother-in-law.
Oh,
Talk to them and I said, hey,
My nephew-in-law owns one up in Illinois. They got to talk.
okay.
so I went to them and I said, hey, Pick West Realty Group will pay 50% of a dumpster for a client. And it turned into, we paid the whole thing for the client.
Okay,
And it's been awesome. I mean,
Okay.
I think we've already put out like 6 dumpsters this year for clients
I
that
love
are
that.
ready to move. And we pick it up and
Is the dumpster branded? Is it just dropped off? What does that look like?
it's not raining because
Okay.
if something blows out, we don't want to get a phone call.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
So the trailer's branded, but the dumpster's not.
Okay.
But yeah, so we have a guy that drives for us Tuesday through Friday. So we don't really participate much besides taking phone calls, scheduling, invoicing. That's about all we do with it. And it's gotten pretty awesome. We started at 3, we're at 5, we're kind of capping it there unless we decide to get another truck trailer and another 5 dumpsters, but it's going really well, and I don't want it to do not want it to become a full-time job, so.
Right.
And I have a business partner with it, and he doesn't want to be a full-time job either, so.
That's fantastic
Yeah.
though, but it's two totally different ways that he was able to take things that were going on outside of his normal traditional real estate and tie them into the buying and selling of houses. And then don't you do crawfish broils?
I've done a couple, haven't done that in a while, but I think cornhole tournaments, participate in any cornhole tournament that you can. I've hosted a bunch of them.
You made pretty boards, didn't you?
We did make some really
Yeah.
cool boards too. Yeah, so that kind of stuff is getting out and with the community because it's a big fundraiser. I think the Centennial High School softball team made $2,000 and was one of their biggest profit-wise deals they did for the softball team.
Oh, what doing
So-
what?
Cornhole tournament,
Oh, they made that much money on that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely. So,
That's an impression with, who knows how many people at that
Absolutely.
tournament? How many people attended the tournament?
but they were probably 90 or so. something
Yeah,
in there.
that's great.
And it was super cold that day, but then we just had another one for FFA. And FFA's been huge for me. If you're not involved in somehow, our daughter got involved in FFA and I knew nothing about it.
Tell everybody what it is.
Future Farmers of America.
I did know that one, by the way.
Okay. Thank
Thought
you.
y'all-
Thank you. But that one is people, I'll tell you, there's money in that. I mean, that steer we had cost us 20 grand, all in with feed purchase. We had a pig too that we hated, so happy to eat the pig, was sad to eat the steer. Still ate it. But it's things like that we get into and getting involved in the community. FFA is huge. FFA, I've made so many connections. I referred $1 million deal off of FFA. Unfortunately, that one just didn't pan out. But it was a
It's all about
really good
putting it
deal.
out there.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to you.
And those referrals, when you meet those people in FFA, they become your friends for life. Yeah.
That's true.
So multiple things there, and he's got, their whole team does many actual clever approaches to all sorts of stuff. They do the traditional real estate stuff too. But these are just some ways he's kind of taken that. Anybody else want to talk about what steps you took once you had your idea, Kelly? And I will tell you, Kelly, she does more than just what she's saying with the restaurant. She's developed the restaurant and bar thing to where she's got basically like an army of advocates passing out her business card. But one of my favorite old school stories of her too is she used to have this business card that looked like a driver's license. And she would go and she would leave it all over town and people would call up to the office and say, because her all the driver's license that would have her
Love that.
which most people would look at that and say this isn't real, but you would be surprised how many didn't. We called the office looking for her and then found out who she was. We even would get phone calls from Las Vegas after she would go visit there. And they'd be like, one of your people left the business card in the restaurant and they thought it was a driver's license. But anyway.
Well, I discovered, like I said, that I had several different passions and I followed through on many of the different avenues. One which was sponsoring the children through the years in their sports, wrestling, baseball, volunteering. At the beginning, in Grapevine, I spent a lot of time, several years volunteering with the Grape Fest. And I would spend literally just Wednesday night, Thursday through Sunday evening, just
Which again is near her home and office.
that introduced me to a lot of the people in the city, at the city services, volunteer services and everything. So I really got able to delve into that. I have been here about 25 years now. But I had moved here and I really didn't have any connections because my ex-husband was military and airlines. So when I moved here, it was just like, whoop, we're moving to Dallas. So how do I meet people? So I networked initially in that manner, but then as the kids got older, I branched into Bob's and Brios and such. Currently, it's fun because I do a lot of giving to Bob's as much as they give to me. I'm there probably 4 or 5 nights a week. And yes, you can tally some numbers on that. I think my longest stretch was 14 days straight.
Wow.
That
She
was
even has a plaque that they put out for her on the bar that saves her spot. I met her up there one year for her birthday, when they also make her a special soup that they no longer have on the menu. And you walk in and there's a name plaque, just like an office plaque, sitting on her spot so that nobody sits there.
They're
Wow.
kind.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
that's no longer, but because I had got rid of the reserve spots. But I give back to them. So when my father passed away, they were extremely generous and sent a massive display of roses. And it cracked my mother up. She goes, of course, only the biggest thing here would be from Bob's. Yeah.
That tells you something.
But
It's not
they
their
were just,
duty.
they were super kind, and I was touched, even though I was a grown ass woman, losing my daddy just kicked me in the gut. And my children were off at college or grown. I was not married at that time. So, sit at home or go hang out with people, right? So that was a real big thing about 5-6 years ago. Since then, I have, and before I would take them, your cleansing things with my name on it. They all love those because most people at the bar have, something they need cleaned.
So what she means by that is she would leave them with the bartender to use with their clients.
Yeah, so
As they
somebody,
sit at the bar, they would whip out the Kelly Wheeler Remax glass cleaner and clean their glasses for them and clean the glasses.
keep it in their pocket. My, chapstick. I literally have bartenders throughout the town that will text me and say, next time you come in, I'm out. So I'll take, a bunch. I take a bowl several times a year and I just set it in the back of the restaurant. So pretty much every server, and there's, somewhere between 75 and 90 employees at Bob's, they all know that if they need this, just to let me.
And all of those 75 to 90 people at each location have something in common. They sit there and they talk to these strangers. That is their line of business. They see people, they talk to them, they hear when they're moving in and out of the area.
Now, and I do generally only do market at the Grapevine location. However, the original Bob's from Lemon does know me too. But I also noticed that they were writing at the bar the orders on cash register paper or on a napkin. So I co-branded or whatever, I just made them up, just little notepads. And it says Bob's Steak and Chop House, Grapevine, Wheeler Professional, second home office, my phone number and information. So if every server, every bartender, the ladies at the front, if anybody says, do you have any paper? Or they see, a bunch of business people scribbling on napkins, they'll go, hold on, here you go. So that's always there. And then people laugh and joke about it.
I will tell you, I had a client sitting at Bob's, and Kelly knows this story, but I had a client sitting at Bob's that got handed her piece of paper by the server because they were talking about their home search with each other. And the server goes, oh, wait, we have a realtor at Bob's. We have a realtor. He said, we have a realtor, and gave them a piece of paper and said, you have to call her. And luckily my client said, oh, this is my same realtor's office, but still, that's what they're sitting there doing. They hear a real estate conversation unprompted. They rip this piece of paper off and hand it to that person.
Now there comes, and I have keys for beer, wine opening, and they all are branded. And I make sure the servers or bartenders always have access to one, or I drop them off. Christmas cards.
She's trained them what she needs to. This is why I'm providing you with these. Here's what my hope is.
Inexpensive little giveaways, and this is one I would put a sticker on the back. This one was from 2020. I love you more than toilet paper. And the next year I had another one. I think it was the masks, but and there's a lightweight and it's easy to keep in my purse. And so I just hand it to any server, bartender, whatever, friend, regular at the bar, and say, hey, thinking about you here. So also the other thing I found was important was I always keep a gift card on hand from my two favorite places, which is Chick-fil-A and Bob's. And so if anybody sends me a referral, then I make sure I write them a thank you note and include a gift card. But that's it on Then I have coffee, tea, Chick-fil-A or me. That's my note card.
Nice.
So I can just drop that, Chick-fil-A card or Starbucks card in that when I am, doing some regular thank you noting.
And that grew from a small idea into, so what I like about yours is you're sort of observing your surroundings and filling needs. Which is a little bit different than some of the others where they took an idea and kind of created a plan for it. She's sort of just being observant, if the servers need the bar pulls, they need these thank you cards. I'm always going to Chick-fil-A. How can I incorporate that into my life?
And incorporating the both of them, it's important that you don't always ask for just them to give you something. I mean, obviously, I'm going there, I'm spending money. Obviously, I'm providing them some service items. But I think it's also important when you have someone that you are involved with on a regular basis that you give back to them outside of the real estate scenario. So I bake banana bread or cheesecake. So the server or a bartender will mention, I've just always told them, you've got to give me about a week notice. And look, oh yeah, I'm so excited for my birthday next weekend. We're going to Choctaw Casino. I'm going, when's your birthday? Okay, so what's the last day you'll be here? And I'll make them a cheesecake or a banana bread and take it to them for their
It's
birthday.
delicious. I live in the neighborhood across from her and I get the leftovers.
And they're funny because it's become a thing that they have to tell me a week in advance and then ask them what they prefer and flavors and such. The other thing that I think is important that you give back to the group as a whole, some people aren't going to feel comfortable coming up and saying, hey, my birthday's next week, I want your cheesecake. But so, and especially the staff in the back, the line cooks, I don't get to see them. So I tried to take them treats. I'll go knock on the door at 10 in the morning when they're they've been there since, 5 in the morning prepping.
Now, Kelly, are we telling?
Yes, actually,
We said 10 a.m. just now.
yes, I actually occasionally do get up. I make sure it's the reason I'm already up, but
I'm teasing her. What I'm teasing her about is her natural sleep cycle. She's a night owl.
Mhm.
And I do think it's important for this panel because a lot of agents try to cram their business into what is traditional business hours, which does work for many agents. But what she's done is she's flipped it on her head because that did not work for her natural, the way her mind turns on. She starts her business mid-morning / afternoon and runs it into the night. So I think that's important.
yeah, and it's also, I think, important when you are working in a scenario where you're trying to soft market yourself is to not talk about your business too much, to have others talk about your business. I never introduce myself as, hey, Kelly Wheeler Remax. I go, hey, Kelly Wheeler, Bob's regular here. I need a question about that menu because let me tell you, you should have this. Have you tried the bacon? And then, the bartenders will go, oh, Kelly's our VIP. She's been here, forever. Just ask her any questions. Or if they're really busy, they'll say, you know what, talk to her right there. She'll tell you all about the menu. I'll be right back with your drink. And then they end up introducing me as not only one of their favorite customers and most frequent customers, but she's a real estate agent.
You're their ambassador.
I am their
Yes,
ambassador.
and they're hers. Yeah.
And I give back to them by, taking them treats when they're having a really long day, because it's going to be 400 or 500 people going through the restaurant where their average is 250, let's say. They're going in early and opening at 3 o'clock instead of their traditional 5. I'll bake banana bread. If I can't, because like recently my partner was ill and he was in the hospital quite a bit, I went to Costco and bought the treats and set them up, and I took them in the day before because I knew I wasn't going to be there because he had surgery the next day or something. So that they always have snacks, on those super busy days. I don't brand that stuff. I just drop it off. But so giving back to the community that you're working with is probably the most significant, just like baseball, wrestling, whatever. You're doing it because you're passionate about that. You're not doing it to get money. That money follows the passion. So don't get into something and say, well, I'm going to do this because this is going to make me money in real estate. You have to come through giving and love and your personality that works with what you're passionate about. And I've gone back through the many years and, you know, they say, how much is your business? Referral, repeat, whatever. And mine is literally 99% referral based on those 4 areas. And 1% that comes from like Homes for Heroes or an outside real estate agent referral. Money, you know, a lot of people, how many people have paid for leads, Zillows or whatever? You know, I went down that rabbit hole and I spent way too much money on those kind of programs. The money I put into Bob's, even though it was more here, that money has brought back tenfold what I put into in entertaining myself. I mean, it's a
That's
win.
similar to what he said.
It's a
too. Very
win-win.
much,
You know?
yes.
You golf, I drink and eat. So it's
Drinks and eats.
but you know, finding your passion and following through with it and giving to the people that you are, you know, working with, I think is how the win-win situation comes on all sides and your network just grows.
Gil and Miriam, either one of you want to go
How do you
next?
follow that? Judas, please. Here's the thing, I try to find different stuff. Pam kicks me out of the car when we're going through neighborhoods that have garage sales. And I ask for the weirdest thing. I'm looking for Revere wear. Oh, we just sold it, but you know what? I think my aunt has some. And I buy Revere wear. I got a whole bunch of it just because it's the hardest thing to find. I love copper. I love shining it up, and it looks awesome on the wall because I hang them up. I collect that too.
And it also opens conversation
Exactly.
in a situation where you know the person's cleaning out their house.
Right, so I do a lot of garage sales, I do a lot of estate sales, find out who's selling the house or what's the story. And I just do that. I've done just numerous things. I mean, like I was saying, I go to my shake bar. All the people that go to those places are a lot of people that are healthy or they own their own business and they're into health. And I pass out the chips and I talk to everyone and they call me up and, hey, I want to know about this or whatever the situation is on properties or houses.
And at some point you decided to write a book.
Oh yeah, I wrote that. I've
Which
done
is
a few of those.
which is also God's business.
And then I've done magazines. I do magazines as well. I'm sure all of you guys do that. I don't use the American one. I use this other type of magazine that tied in with my publisher that does the books for me. Everyone can get those books. The only thing is that you got to write into them as your own flair. They give you a basic outline, but that's always a kind of a cool opener for people because it kind of gives you a little bit more credibility
Well, there's been times you can attribute a listing or a buyer directly to that.
Exactly. And then I also have I've done little sheets for folks that these are going to be the steps that we're going to do. And I have a good time with a lot of folks. And then hablo español, so that's another avenue that
What was that?
I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Hablo
Oh,
español.
okay. I didn't hear, but yeah, apparently I
Yeah,
heard.
so I translate a lot of stuff into Spanish. I helped quite a few of them fill out their applications, whatever it is.
Well, so he said a couple times, he's not going to brag on himself in the way that I'm about to, but he's mentioned a couple words about help. I provided lists, things like that. One thing Gil is an expert at with the real estate community and other agents in the office and other agents he does deals with as well, but also to the general public is he's approachable and he establishes himself as somebody who's a teacher. So he has strangers that hear about him from other strangers that come to him and just want to learn about real estate. So maybe it's like a first-time buyer that says, somebody told me you're a perfect teacher to teach me how to get ready to buy a house. And he's gotten that reputation in his local community. The whole community knows Gil, not only because of his walking billboard, but just because of his attitude and willing to position himself as a helper.
Yeah, thanks.
It's the truth.
It is, but then I also have agents that call me that they refer because they don't want to, they have a Spanish speaking person or they really don't want to deal with them. And I just give them a referral fee.
Yep.
But I get a lot of agents calling me about that. Dude, you can take care of this. You're the guy for it. And I just do it and make it happen.
That's a good compliment.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty fun.
And I also want to say, Gil gets very unique things in terms of referrals.
They go louder so they can hear you too.
Gil also gets very unique opportunities because of his ability to just embrace whatever brought in front of him. You had 2 million loads of sand on this
Oh,
land
yeah,
that had to be sold separate from but Gil will embrace it.
Yeah,
He'll embrace any challenge, and so other agents refer things to him. And he's actually known throughout the state of Texas for being that person who will embrace a unique situation and not give up until it's done.
yeah, you're right. I did get offered 200 million tons of sand,
That's it.
and I'm working on that. I also,
2 million tons of sand. Was that
No
your
joke.
statement
I
or
was
was that your client?
that's my client that wants, I've been working on that, and I'm working on iron ore that he wants to sell, and then another gravel pit that he wants to sell. Then I just got a phone call from another guy named CW that wants me to sell a property that has oil on it, so I'm working on that too. I don't care what it is, let's just do it. What the hell?
And I'm just gonna say, so I told him about this deal, and he goes, and we thought about not saying this just because the nature of what, he goes, oh yeah, I got this. He goes, I'm a real estate slut. I've been in the business for decades. If I need to get business, I will work it until I get business. What he's really good about is he's opportunistic. He will, if the market dips, he instantly is thinking of how can I address this upcoming market? And as fun as he is and as approachable as he actually comes from an engineering background. So he's got a different mindset than a lot of people, which I think incorporates well into taking these ideas and actually making them a reality instead of just having ideas, you know what I mean?
That's like this, don't be scared to be afraid. So just do it. And then I have this one,
Don't be scared to be afraid?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then I have this thing that I was explaining to this young lady is, I have two things. One, if you snooze, you lose. Number one, no, that was number two. If you snooze, you lose. Number one is, it's called Goya. You're going, what's Goya? Get off your ass. Let's get it done. And that's how, I've learned that when I was in my 20s from a guy, his name was Jim Elliott. And he would just do this. We can figure this out. There's no problem. We'll get it done. And that's what I just learned a lot from this guy. He was terrific. And he goes, by the time you're my age, you'll have this set, no problem. Just read the books I'm telling you and listen to these tapes and you'll be just fine. Like, okay, so, and he would be this guy that would do the whiteboard and show me all kinds of cool stuff. And I just implemented that into real estate. I've done all kinds of stuff. I owned a landscaping business in California for 15 years. I got my license as a landscaper, did the hardscape. I know how to do brick. I don't care what it is. I know about it, or I can do it, or I'll find out about it and tell you all about what you need to do. It's real easy. Just don't be afraid to do it.
It may be easy, but it's not something that everybody actually does. So it's impressive that you go out and you do it and you find additional ways. So
Well, and then I got a side hustle. I do also flip houses. I got a crew of 5 people that take care of all my flip houses. I also have this other lady named Patricia that takes care of all my cleaning and houses. I do all the invoices for that. So, hablando español me ayuda mucho. That's what I do. I don't care. Let's give me the challenge. I'll figure it out and I'll get it done. That's it.
Mary, you understood all that.
Understood the assignment.
Yeah. So what about you? So what I love most about Miriam's thing is it's a program that the city actually she does several things. So I want you to talk about the different things that you do with the department, but most of them were stuff that she was able to plug into, like she said, to keep that relationship with her family who works in this department, but it ended up servicing not just the police department, but the children in the community, the parents in the community, the business owners in the community. So it went from one little simple, I'm gonna, take this idea that I have to be closer to my husband, to be closer to my passion, and it's now servicing multiple levels within the city that she's trying to serve, which is also near her home and office. Back to that.
So I'm going to echo on a lot of what they're saying. Passion, follow through, but I'm also going to say show up. Every one of us has a passion, whatever it is, if it's reading books, if it's a cat, whatever it is, there's a niche for that. Show up to those meetings, follow through with those groups, and before you know it, it's just going to be like this little small little what am I trying to say, snowball that is going to eventually roll into something huge. Through some of my passions, police, it started off as police. So it started off with me as a police wife trying to do meal trains for injured officers, or during Christmas, you're gonna feel our love. And eventually you. I'm serious. I'm very animated. You show up enough that eventually they're like, hey, Miriam does great baking and she decorates the office like killer. So why don't we have her like come help us with this little event that we're gonna have over here? Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Just last week, I had one of the head guys at Fort Worth Police at the chief's office say something out, and it really got to me. He goes, Miriam is always a phone call away and an hour right behind that phone call. He goes, and he repeated it several times in a group full of like Hillwood Airway, like the CEO and Ross Perot's people and a bunch of other officers, and it really meant a lot for him to take the time to say all of that. So it really speaks on the person that you are, showing up, being there, being that person that they think about whenever they're going to do something else. It might not be real estate that you're showing up for today, but eventually you're that face that they're always calling. How do you make your money? Oh no, this is just volunteer work. I don't make money off of this. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do real estate. And that's how I introduce myself. Yes, I have my funny moments, and I can decorate a room and do all these things, but I don't go in there and say, I'm a real estate agent, so you call me for whatever your real estate needs are. I have people now within the city and within, wives that will just reach out to me for real estate. And I do advertise, but not like, I don't go out there and say, hey, I'm the end all be all real estate police wife. I don't do any of that. I just go and show up for what's my passion. Through my passion, and because I guess I've used my success to turn and help officers because they have their own passions. So they'll come to me and say, hey, we have Souls for Souls event, which is, it helps like put shoes on impoverished kids in our community. Honest to God, before I showed up to that event, I had no idea that people lived like this, and even here in Fort Worth. So just listening to some of those stories and showing up for those kids, it really, it hit home. So since then, every year I go back, well, guess what? They remember that too, because they remember that you showed up for their passion. Because of it, other officers notice the type of work and that I support them in whatever roles that I can, whether it's, hey, I'm going to pay for 100 hot dogs, or, hey, let me ask my title company if it's a big enough need. Hey, can my title company help, pay for XYZ? And they will. And so officers remember that. And I think that's the most important thing, is having those key people that you want to network to have you remember you for that. Just, servicing the community.
Well, and then tell them about the ride along. And also, I don't know if you guys remember, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, a bunch of agents went out and did the flags and the Veterans Park in Fort Worth. That was Miriam too. So we can talk a little bit about those two things that you've thrown into as well.
So again, because officers remember that, hey, Miriam does XYZ, let's call her and see if she can help with the police memorial. So every year on, I think we're for police officers, it's like the third week in May that we get recognized, May 15th or 14th, that we got recognized back with JFK, and he put it into effect that that's going to be Police Memorial Week. So they called us to go put out flags, and I actually paid out of my own pocket for those flags. And I just
So like little American flags that stick in the ground
with the thin blue line. And so they remember it, and the widows of those officers showed up that night, and they were just in tears. They're like, Miriam, I can remember when we would have these ceremonies, and it was not nearly as decorated. This is beautiful. It's breathtaking. And it's those lasting impressions that they're going to go back and tell those senior officers and everybody else, what you did for them. That small little gesture can go a long ways. It's gotten to the point that Bob's may know you, but there was a point in time where Betsy Price knew me by name.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to get in there with Maddie Parker, but still not there yet. She doesn't know. So she will.
You give us your phone number, we'll all call.
Yeah, we'll be calling about something soon.
We'll send her a box.
Yeah.
And all jokes aside, it was really funny. Like Again, I don't go and abrasively introduce myself. They just know that I'm there because I'm either running some portion of an event that is city funded. She saw me enough times that one day I was wearing, that's another thing, I love the 4th of July and any patriotic holiday, so I'll dress up all in, with the flag, and Betsy Price saw it, she goes, Miriam, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, it knows my Miriam. I was like, yeah. And so she's like, where did you get that shot? I was like, well, ma'am, surprisingly enough, I got a JCPenney for $10. She goes, how much? I'm gonna go. I'm like, I think it was like 2 years ago, but ever since that, it became a joke with Betsy Price, and I still feed her, and she's like, hey, Miriam. I'm like, hey.
If you ever find another one, you've got to get home.
I've been looking.
Yeah.
I've actually have been looking.
I just love that. And the other thing that I love about her is she's got her entire life in business based around the we rise by lifting others type approach. So everything that she does is it does benefit her as a person and as personal growth, and also her direct bottom line business can be attributing sales to this and dollars in her bank account. But her direct community that she serves, she goes above just the closing of the house. And then in addition to that, this year she opened it up to the office, whereas a lot of agents feel very closed off. I don't want to tell my idea, things like that. All of these panelists are willing to share their idea because they're confident in what they have built in that idea for themselves. They know, I mean, Russ knows nobody's gonna walk up into his golf course and take his spot there. So he's more than willing to share these ideas and also allow us to get on this journey with them. Same thing with Kelly and Bob's, same thing with Gil and most of Highland Village, and not just one city, but most of the city. And then Miriam with the Fort Worth Police Department. I mean, we've had agents that have had husbands and wives that work through different police departments, but she's really been able to manicure that and manipulate that to the point where she even allowed all of our agents come out this time and do the flag thing with her. So now we were able to give back to the community as an office, and she's incorporated us into that too, which just further solidifies her in their eyes, because now she's someone who was able to have a team of a dozen people show up and help with this activity. So she's got this power behind her that they see, and she looks at it in a way that, it's sort of, let's all help each other out rather than I'm doing this for me, or this is, I don't want other agents to come to the police department. She's like, come on, this is for the service, this is for the community, let's do this.
There are gonna be times where even if somebody is able to take, and I'm not gonna say take is a bad choice of words, but even if there's another agent that goes and does make business with somebody else, okay, so be it. You're gonna be able to talk to people in ways that I can't. It's selfish of me to think that I'm going to be able to connect to everybody in every aspect of life, in every phase of life. You just can't. But what I can do is uplift you, and hopefully one day you're going to think of me as for a referral or somebody that I can, we can mutually help each other. So it really is.
You're a phone call away and an hour.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Everyone should share, just pass it on to the next, pass on that baton to the next person that they can relate to. That's what happens to me too. I get what you say. So tell me, do you guys have the police explorers or explorers help out and scouts and all that?
We do, we actually do, and that's another phase of like the police department, but that it actually falls under them. But yeah, we kind of we're one of the commingling. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you hear her verbiage, she's a we on that. She's committed to that in her heart. She's a we. That may be spouse's job and her job may be this, but she's a we on that.
Hey, I have a police wife badge. I've had to use
Yeah.
this puppy a couple of times and it's gotten me through things.
Okay, well, we're gonna do a couple quick rapid fires, okay? So I'm gonna ask you questions, just kind of rapid fire down the line. Don't think too much about it. From the time you had the idea until you started seeing results, how much time went by before you started seeing results? Russell with golf,
6 months.
Kelly with the bar,
Less than a year.
Gil,
I'm a couple of months.
okay, Miriam,
About 3 to 4 months.
okay, I love it. How much time are you spending in these activities?
2 hours.
How often?
Aside from posting it,
2 hours a
2
day,
hours,
2
no.
hours a,
2 hours to get it done. It's Facebook marketed it. They call the course, they sign up. And I'm there and I speak. When I'm there, introduce other sponsors, introduce myself, and I go play golf.
okay, Kelly?
Well, I mean,
Yours is hard because it's your natural life.
Yeah, it's my
so that's
natural
hard to
life.
measure.
So let's say, I bake or cook for them once a month.
But how long did it take for you to see the return on those specific, like Bob's, for instance?
I don't know, 3 million in the first part of the year, 1.8 million the first
Okay, and
quarter.
you've done that for now, because Bob's has only been open for a few years, so really it
15.
hasn't been, yeah.
That's 15 years.
Okay, wow, well, my timetables, I'm still 12, so. All right,
I got the number.
all right. Okay, Gil, how much time do you spend outside of what you would consider business hours doing business?
I just live it.
You live it.
That's it.
Yours is very similar to Kelly's. And Miriam, how much time do you spend invested in the Fort Worth Police Department?
More than I can count.
Okay.
It's a constant,
You live it.
like, just feeding it, growing it, and it comes in different shapes, so, yeah.
Well, and you know what, back to you, I know you said 2 hours, but you also golf several times a week, so really you're living it too.
I'm
So
living it,
actually,
yeah.
all 4 of them are living it, now that I kind of hacked that out in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, just ideas that you've tried that didn't work, just throw some out there, that didn't work for you,
Knocking on doors.
okay?
Yeah.
That's,
But you
tried
all
that.
tried it,
Yeah,
okay?
hand deliver letters to doors, knock on doors.
no, and then people sending those little pictures. I told you not to soliciting, and I'm like, not soliciting, I'm just giving you some information. Que la fregada, man.
You're on their Ring doorbell, they're sending you screenshots.
I guess, I guess
Miriam, show them.
I would say what doesn't work is introducing yourself as, hey, I'm Kelly Wheeler. I'm a real estate agent. What do you do? What are you doing here? You know, or pulling yourself first is never good.
The
Always.
casual conversation kicks off better whenever they.
Right,
what do
so
you do?
always ask what they do and what their passions are.
Well, I'm gonna echo that. for all of
Always
this
keep
type
the
too.
conversation
Yeah.
on them. Because if you go in with mindset of, I want to talk about me, nobody gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
You know, if they
People
really
love
don't
talking, people love talking about themselves.
talk about
love it.
themselves.
Well, and I do think there's a place for that. I mean, if you're at a networking meeting and it's a business networking meeting, you do your 2-minute
Totally.
elevator speech. If you're on LinkedIn, you're talking business 100%. But what you guys are doing is turning your life into a lead generation source. And so you need to live your life primarily and then open that door casually. Even so simple as asking, what do you do? And then they turn around and say, well, what do you do? And then that door's open instead of you shoving it down
The
their throat.
passion,
It's more
you
natural.
talk about the passion, you talk about their passion, you get involved in their passion. And it just, it works. But don't ever think about yourself as being anybody or anything important. Always downplay yourself and what you do. If someone says, well, this is, Melanie, the best realtor in the world, I say, oh God, no. Let's talk about the best realtor in the world, and that is XYZ, pull out one of your friends or your mentor or whatever. You say, I can only dream to be that, but thank you so much. Let's talk about you again. So you bring the conversation. Humility in talking about your business and how good you are. This is hard enough for us to do up here in front of realtors. I mean, it's you hear all of our voices a little crumbly or a little shaky. I don't know if y'all see, but
We know that's because you're up late.
no, I was home last night by 10, right, Terry?
I had her home by 10:30.
30.
Dirty?
30.
Well, but Miriam nailed it when she. Yeah, they shut it down. The bar closed at 9, so you home at 10:30.
No, it's Martini Monday. It's one martini.
Something that Miriam said right when she sat down really resonated, right? 2 drink minimum, 2 drink maximum. Is that, golf, restaurants, community, police service. These are things that were their personal hobbies. I think that if you can think about the things that you already like to do, if you're a reader, are you in a book club? If you are in a book club, is it a book club of agents or is it a book club of ladies in your neighborhood? If you're a bunco person, are you in a bunco group? Are you running game night? Are you doing that stuff? If you're a sourdough bread baker, can you start a little community of sourdough bread people? If you've lost a parent, connecting with those people, if you're
And I'm
going
gonna
through a
piggyback
divorce.
off of that. So initially, when I started some of these efforts, I do a 4th of July parade in my neighborhood. I have some agents in our office that kind of help, and it's become a big thing. But when you first initially start off an event or a group, don't expect to have the turnout that you're thinking in your head. Don't expect that everybody's going to follow. you're probably gonna have to start that event very small, but make it fun. Invite your close people, make it a party, make it to where people want to show up, people want to follow, people want to be involved. If you go in it thinking that you're gonna have this huge crowd, and great if you do, like, I'm not trying to knock it, but don't expect that you're gonna have like that turnout or the amount of people or even the business that follows it. It's taken sometimes even years to something to follow. Now I'm very fortunate and I thank my community so much because they know that when I put my name on something, one, it's family friendly. Number two, it's gonna be fun because I'm gonna make it fun for your kids and for you. And there's gonna be something crazy that Miriam's gonna do because that's just the type of person that I am. But I think in my head, what do I want to do? Or what did I want to do back when I was a younger wife? Broken hill. And what made me want to go out there with my kids, you know, but that's my community. Your community might be different. You might be into aesthetics or makeup or working out, which I'm trying to get back into, whatever it is. Start that. You know, like follow through with it. It's consistency. Now I'm going into year 4, I think, of the 4th of July parade. And now we're close to hundreds of people showing up.
And she
Right.
also, again, like she did with the flag thing, she's laced in other agents from our office that live in that area. And now they all put the cold air balloon in their yard on the day of this parade, and they've got people driving around and all that. So
Code Blue gets involved. I mean, it's this
Who?
year at Code Blue.
Oh,
The
yeah,
senior
okay, yeah.
citizens,
I knew
so-
what that one was.
That's cool.
And I'm hoping to get, you know, like more involvement from like city councilmen and, you know, stuff like that. So it's taken a little bit, but it evolves. So consistency, just start it. Nobody's gonna see your vision. I mean, and even your vision might turn into be something a little bit different, but don't be afraid to step out there and you do it and take it and, you know, just take the reins on it. The first time I told myself every single time, we're just gonna have an open mind about this event. I see it, how it's gonna be in my head, but it might turn into something different. And guess what? Every single time it has turned into something different and something so much better. So don't be afraid.
Once again, you lead me right into my next question. I like you on that end because everything she says rolls right into my next question. And then I'm gonna open it up for questions either on Zoom or in the room, but advice you have for people who are sitting here thinking, I'm now inspired. I see how different these 4 people are. I think that I could take this and run with this, but I need to kind of think of something that might fit me. What do you tell them?
I'd love to host more of these night golf tournaments. We're limited where we're at, but I'm thinking about Iron Horse already does night golf tournament, so I'm thinking about letting somebody else go and do that one, or talk to Iron Horse and see about running more events and things like that.
And expanding.
It's a little farther away. Drinking and driving's a terrible idea. So I mean, if I can get my wife or Kathy to Uber me, Kathy is my driver. Kathy is my driver this day. So that it's stuff like that stuff I love so much, and I should probably go and travel and play more golf courses, but I live on a golf course and it's easy to get in my golf cart and just go play. But
So you're basically saying to expand your.
Have your label on your.
so I do real estate with Russ on all my posts. So I've got people, my last cornhole tournament we played on May 20th. He said, oh, there's real estate with Russ. I got people yelling, drunk people yelling real estate with Russ, you know, and it's fun, it's catchy, and I put it on all my posts and you know, things like that. And then I put it on the back of my golf cart too.
So your advice is to, first of all, that they can contact you if they're interested in the same things you are and possibly expand over to Iron Horse.
Absolutely.
But to brand yourself with consistency and also sort of just look to your passions.
Correct.
What about you guys?
I would say also calculate the financial benefits of incorporating your hobby into your
Talk more
business.
about that.
Business into your hobby, you know, have your numbers. You know, I have some obscene numbers that I went through yesterday for the past 4 years.
Like what? Give us examples.
$10,000 to $15,000 a year.
Okay,
Is-
on investing in this concept.
No, that I, you know, go to Bob's.
Oh, got it. Okay, yes.
So how
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
of that money can you trace back to your business? So I mean, your passion needs to be a passion, but you also need to not spend too much.
yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna spend it anyhow, like I would, you know, so know where your money is do know whether it's worth investing additional funds into supporting that passion. Can you reduce some of your taxes and use some of that as a leverage to create, more business, which creates more income, which means you'll pay more taxes, but keep track of your numbers because, if you're doing it as a charity, you need to put it in as a charity like you did. You started yours as a charity. If you're doing it as a passion, and there's some financial benefits to be had from incorporating that passion into a business potential revenue, or if you're just going to still go there because that's what you do, and you don't want the tax man flagging you because, 1 year you spend 26,000, the next year you spend 10. In what percentage of that are you going to consistently use on your taxes? So when you start in any business,
Good advice.
it's really important to have a CPA, accountant. Let's be serious. I am too lazy to do my own accounting, so I have a net. Thank God. And I also have a great CPA. And I tell them every year, I do not take all of the deductions that I can. Because I want my income to be a certain level for my taxes, because I'm looking real close to retirement, folks. I'm 60 and we're self-employed. So, making sure that my income level is the same amount. One thing I try to encourage agents to do is, even if you can take every single deduction there is out there, remember, you need to buy a house, you need to buy cars. You need to keep your income at a certain level consistently so that the tax guys don't freak out at you. I'm not a tax person that giving you any advice. However, it is important that don't let your passion overwhelm your expenses, or don't take too much of your passion and write it off, I should say, as an expense. Suck it up, do it because you love it.
And I'm 100% positive that several of the people in the room and Zoom are probably fixated on that 10 to 15 number that you threw out. So you did invest somewhere around 10 to 15 a year in this. But it's also stuff that you would do.
I would have
like you
done
said,
it.
you've got
I
to
would have
speed
done it
anyway.
anyhow.
But since you do know your numbers, how much business would you attribute back to it?
This year, every single closing I've had this year directly relates to Bob's. The ones that I will have the rest of this year, I've already got 1.8 million this year. Just to Bob's. I also have a bartender at Bob's, bartender at Will Hoyt's. 2 clients just Saturday night came up and said they wanted to list their house with me.
So I wanted to throw that out there because she gave a big number for what she's invested, but I also want you guys to know that she's getting that back tenfold.
My entire business this year, I am pretty much confident will be 100% Bob's and Will Hoyt's. And that means last year I spent twice as much of what I would have spent. And I did look at that number, but it's coming back this year.
Well, and as we close up, we've now touched on 2 questions that you guys haven't had a chance to answer. If you want to, is if you do want to talk about return on investment costs, you're welcome to, since we did bring that up with Kelly, but also just any advice you have for
Really
somebody
quick.
looking to start a
The
new.
best investment you'll ever make is in yourself.
Okay, I love
You
that.
can read a lot of books,
Mhm.
and I didn't get that. I didn't even get that. That guy that I just mentioned earlier, Jim Elliott, he was the best mentor of my life. I met him when I was cutting lawns. He goes, "I'm going to show you how you make money." And he did. And I did very well. And I was always complaining I never had money. He goes, "You do have money, but you don't have it in your pocket. It's growing." Here's the thing. If you invest in yourself and go into a lot of, like, look, this last year, I was like, damn, I don't know if I can do this R4, but I did it. I learned a lot. It filled in a lot of gaps.
First day on the elevator, picks up a deal.
R4 is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I did. I'm right now working that right now with this guy. He wants to grow a marijuana plant. I don't care.
So now you
We
can
need a-
The challenge
we
is,
need the office store there.
there you go, there you go.
so
So advice you have for people looking for a new lead generation source that fits their passion, invest in yourself.
invest in
Okay.
yourself.
What about you, Miriam?
I think it's something that's just gonna flow naturally. Think about it, it's gonna, I promise it's gonna twist and turn, but until you have that idea of like what you really are into and see how you can manage it. Like, let's say that you're into face, well, start having Botox parties. Get yourself a good esthetician and have neighborhood Botox parties for your clients. I mean, the sky is the limit. Don't just, from what you hear here.
You said B12 too.
Yeah, yeah, that, and then, what was the other question?
If you wanted to touch on return on investment that you've seen from this.
Absolutely. So, I do a lot of, my thing on social media is having beautiful pictures, and like I said, those quick videos, the snippets. And because of it, most of my higher end clients that, have almost got me to the $1 million mark on some of those listings and buys has been from those videos, because one of them actually told me, they were like, it's the small things that you do, the curb appeal, the pictures, putting it on YouTube. YouTube has actually, I've proven it, that YouTube has made, even in January when the sales were really, really slow, I had 2 people flying from out of town from just my YouTube videos. Yes, I invest a lot in pictures, but you also have to remember your clients are investing in you. So really, like, is that much of a cost? I think I might spend like $500 to $800, but if it's $800,000, $900,000 house, I think it's worth it. And between those 2 transactions, it put me a little bit over $1 million. So,
Love that. Anything else that you guys want to add before? I want you all to give your contact information one by one. And then if there's any questions that we have. So let's do contact information and then questions. We'll just start this way and work down. How do they reach you if they have questions, Miriam?
you can look me up on social media, Miriam Stevenson with a V, and you'll know it's me because my husband, my police husband, is right there next to me. Phone number is 817-757-0652. And seriously, any questions you guys have, I will share my templates. There's a lot of trial and error, and if I can save you guys any time or effort, I promise you, I'll give you all the apps, everything that I use.
Gil?
Gilbert Santana, 469-877-7653. And my doors I'm always answering my phone, and my door is always open at my office, and I'm there. I pretty much live there. I can live there. I got booze, food. Hello. I'm there all the time. That's no lie.
He's in the upstairs wing at Highland Village by the video rooms. Kelly?
Kelly Wheeler, 817-707-4383. Call anytime after 9 a.m.
Means 10. All nine, so that was.
However, I'm happy to meet you at Chick-fil-A or Bob's anytime, or come to my house, bring your Chick-fil-A, and we will sit down and cover whatever you'd like to talk about.
Russ Pickens, 817-538-3321. That's if I can help you with the roll-up dumpster business, I'd love to help you guys out with that, but also the ideas around anything golf or cornhole related. It's big. They're big and relatively inexpensive to get involved in.
And how to deal with your damn mother-in-law. No, I'm just kidding.
That's an ass whip sometimes.
Yeah. I think their clients just adore their banter, and I just want to take Heather one-on-one and just be like, girl, how do you put up with it?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for understanding.
Okay, so any questions from anybody in here for any of the panelists? You guys are okay?
You can go ahead and tell them how much you love.
Next question, please.
And any questions over there we need to address?
No questions from Zoom.
Well, I just want to say thank you all so much for sitting on this panel. I think it was an excellent topic. I feel by show of hands in the room, who feels like they're going to go out and think about their business and think about what they can do. So you've inspired all these people. So thank you guys.
Nice meeting you.
And then don't leave our picture.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that was really, it really was.
It is. That's great.